Hey guys, welcome back to an interesting video on Wild Rift. So today we're back with a Zeri updated complete guide. Now we haven't covered Zeri in a very long while, mostly because I haven't played her all that much, but of course I have been picking her back up and she has been pretty fun to play, but you know, I do still think a lot of other champions are better than her, but that's not really the point of this video. The point of this video is to go through her new items and runes that I think are the best to take on her. But of course, as usual, don't forget to check out her basic guide for, of course, her skills, leveling order, tips and tricks, as well as some combos. But without further ado, let's jump straight into the items. So, first up, you still want to start off with the Gluttonous Greaves. Obviously, it's the best boots for ADCs in general. You get the attack damage as well as the Omnivamp, and then you want to go into Shield Ball. Of course, Shield Ball did get buffed, you know, way back when, and the shield is now bigger, and this is especially good if you are going for it first item, because it used to be 200 shield, now it's 300 shield, which is a 150% increase, so it's a pretty big increase in terms of the shield you get. So shield ball is now not a very bad first item, and most Zeris actually go for shield ball first item. You get really good stats. Of course, not as good as IE, but what you really get is the safety from the shield. And Zeri really loves this shield because she gets in pretty close. Like, she has really short range, so she's constantly inside the fight, so she gets damaged quite a bit as well. So you do want to, of course, get yourself the shield bow for that extra layer of safety. And then next up you go for Runan's Hurricane. So Runan's Hurricane is going to allow you to attack 3 people at one time. And this is pretty huge because obviously Zeri, one of her weaknesses is she can only attack the first target, like Graves. So you can, a frontliner can kind of block for his backline, but with Runan's Hurricane, you can of course attack 3 people at the same time, which most of the time means you can hit the backline, which is really good. And also the damage you get from Runan's is really good. And finally, Runan's damage actually takes into account as if all of your mini bullets hits. Like, you guys know when you auto attack on Zeri, 6 bullets come out, and the Runan's Hurricane assumes that all 6 bullets hit, and it calculates based off of that. So it's a really good item for Zeri. And Bloodthirster, of course, we go for it next. It's gonna give us the physical vamp, the AD, and of course the bonus stats when you are higher on health. So last 2 items are pretty standard. You want to go for Maul Reminder for the Armor Pen as well as the Grievous Wounds, and IE of course for the damage as well as the increase in crit damage to put yourself to 100% crit. Now, you can swap the order of these 2 around. If you don't need Maul Reminder, you can go for IE earlier, or if you are very fed and you want to kind of double down, you can go for IE earlier as well. So here we get to what I consider to be the interesting part, which is the runes. So Conqueror is actually better than Lethal Tempo and Zeri now, which I honestly found really surprising at the start, and for a long time I was kind of in denial where I still went Lethal Tempo until I tried Conqueror for a couple of games, and I realized that honestly, when it comes to the attack speed, you can feel a difference, but honestly with items like Runans, which gives you 45% attack speed, you get 15% attack speed from here, and another 10% here when you're higher on health, and you also have Alacrity. You actually don't really even need Lethal Tempo, which I found pretty surprising because I always found Zeri to be a very auto-attack focused champion who wants a lot of attack speed, but turns out Conqueror is better. You get, of course, your AD, you get, of course, your Omnivamp, which is stats that Zeri loves, and the only thing you're missing out on is the attack speed, but as I said, you already have enough of it, so you don't actually even need attack speed, so Conqueror is simply now just the best option. Brutal, of course, for the on-hit auto attack damage. Giant Slayer, most damage, highest damage rune in this slot. Legend Alacrity because we need the attack speed since we don't have Lethal Tempo anymore. And of course Bone Plating for laning phase as well as for anti-combo damage. And finally, summoner spells, we go for Flash. And we go for Ghost like 99% of the time because you want to zip around. Fights. And pretty much just run rampant all over the place. So that's pretty much it for the loadout. Let's now jump into the gameplay. Okay, so now I'm gonna move on to the gameplay. Of course, as usual, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Any questions, queries, remarks, feel free to leave them in the comments below, and I will of course be sure to address them. So Zeri generally prefers to play with enchanters because you can, of course, you are a hyper carry, and getting buffed up by enchanters like Soraka I have in this game. I mean, other enchanters like Janna or whatnot, Lulu and Yuumi are obviously the best 2 enchanters for Zeri. But yeah, enchanters are generally what you prefer, although of course you can work with engagers as well, just that you have to rely more on yourself to keep yourself safe and such. So here at the start of the game, that you can see it in the mid lane, the enemy team actually has a little bit of a fight over mid lane, in a sense that Teemo was actually assigned mid and Vladimir was assigned support. But the Vladimir support just picked Vladimir and went mid and bought a ruby crystal instead of support items. So essentially he ended up chasing Teemo down to become the support, who as we just covered, doesn't have support item either. So the Teemo is actually not gonna ever build support item, he just builds normally. So basically the enemy team doesn't really have a support. Now the main impact of him not buying support item is basically that him and Ashe will be sharing the gold and XP equally. Even if Teemo doesn't take last hits, Ashe is still going to get less XP because they're going to share the XP evenly. And also of course the person who last hits, being that Ashe, is going to get more gold, but Teemo is still going to get, you know, a larger chunk of the gold than he should. And because of that, you know, Ashe is going to be mainly put at a disadvantage, although Teemo is not going to get more farm. So it overall is just a balancing out act, I guess. So either way, we managed to play relatively aggressively, and we managed to actually get Teemo's flash as well as his ignite. So this is going to be pretty huge because we could perhaps look to get a kill on Teemo if the opportunity arises. Of course, Ashe is a lot harder to target. She has really long range, and she still has both her summoner spells. So also Teemo has first strike, so the main thing we're trying to do here is to remove his first strike before he is able to proc it on us, which you know, we have multiple ways to do that. We can auto attack, Q, or W him, so we're always just trying to remove his first strike to prevent him from getting any extra damage and any extra gold. So here looks like they have actually reset, so here we're just trying to shove out the wave as quickly as we can, so that of course we can get off a reset as well and not come back too late. So here Teemo's already back in the lane, we're just getting off a reset, we're going to complete our boots of course, and just run straight back onto lane, even grabbing ourselves a longsword on the way out as well. So just take a look at the gold now. You can see that I'm 200 gold up on Ashe, and that's because Teemo doesn't have support item, and even so Soraka is still slightly ahead of the Teemo. So so yeah, basically Ashe is the main person that suffers from Teemo not getting support item. So here Ashe actually gets off a pretty good trade on us, so we're gonna have to back off a little bit. Ashe's bone plating comes back up as well. I'm just grabbing the fruit here, and we're kind of headed back. We mainly want to try to get the Teemo if we can, because Teemo of course doesn't have his summoner spell, so he's a lot more vulnerable, whereas Ashe really does not that vulnerable with her range and with her summoner spells. Here Ashe is actually alone, so we're just going to start blasting her. Teemo's actually off to the side, so I'm just kind of trying to back away. I get my ult, or I have my ult rather, so I'm gonna ult and go onto both of them. I flash for the Teemo, who doesn't have any way of getting out. Pantheon ults in, but he doesn't really ult in a very good spot because I can just run around the wall, and Soraka actually flashes to prevent herself from getting stunned, and we are pretty much all good. So Pantheon pretty much just wastes his ult there. So we are able to get the kill and get out relatively easily, and we can now, you know, once again recall, reset, and get ourselves, you know, more items. So in this case, we complete our Noon Quiver, and we can head back into the lane. So of course, Zeri is not exactly someone who is very strong early game, but honestly in Wild Rift she's a lot stronger than in PC because of mainly just the fact that you can spam your Qs like Ezreal Q and to just poke enemies out. So her laning phase is actually not that bad compared to PC, and you can actually get stuff done in the laning phase pretty much as you guys saw right there. But of course she does scale very well, so you don't necessarily have to do anything in the early game. You could always just scale into the later stages of the game, as long as you're not, you know, too far behind. When you get to 3 items, you're pretty much going to be in a state where you can carry your team. Of course, as I mentioned, so long as you're not behind. If you're even, you know, you're going to be doing just fine. Of course, if some other lane gets super duper fed on the enemy team, story's going to be a little bit different. But you know, generally, as long as you're not behind, you can carry the team. So here we're getting off really good trade on Teemo again. Teemo of course does have really short range, so whenever he wants to come up to blind me or whatnot, you know, we can still get off some attacks on him. And even when we're blinded, we can still use our Q and our W. We just can't use our auto attacks, of course. So here Ashe and Teemo are missing, so we are pinging that they are missing. And in the meantime, we're just pushing in. Control Ward into the bush to check whether they're coming down. They are actually coming down. We're trying to get a plate, but we don't actually manage to get it. I knew Ashe was going to ult here, so I ghost and dodge it, and then I pop my ulti, and they're both very, very low. we want to push in this wave to then dive them. But Orianna's coming over from the backside, and she pretty much gets both kills. Unfortunately, I say unfortunately because I felt that we did most of the work there, and Orianna just came in and took the kills, which, of course, is still a good thing. Of course, getting the kills is good, but honestly, if she waited from the minion wave to tower dive, we could have all just gotten them together, and maybe I would have gotten a kill. But overall, it still works out for our team. Either way, now with them dead, we can push in the minions and then either reset or go for plate. So here I decide to actually reset because the enemy bot lane has actually respawned already, and if we don't get a good reset now, I can complete Shilbo. If we don't get a good reset now, we could end up being stuck in the lane if Dragon ends up being contested, or they just keep us in the lane. So we have to find the opportunity to reset, for tempo, and we're just going to go ahead and head back out into the lane. Volibear is heralding mid, which is of course the normal standard jungle play, and Pantheon has now just started up the jungle. Teemo's running back into the lane. I remove his bone plating once again, and I'm clearing up the minions before rotating to the dragon, where obviously a fight is going to occur. Here, Pantheon is a little some ways away, and we can see basically everyone here. Pantheon ults in. I'm dashing over the wall to make sure I don't get caught. Pantheon gets caught by Orianna out and then blasted by me. Here I'm going for the ulti onto the enemy bot lane, and we actually get both of them, so we get a triple kill here, and as a result we're also going to be getting a free dragon. So at this point in time, we're not just even, but we're super duper far ahead now. We are 4-0-2, 6k gold, which is like 2k gold plus higher than the Ashe, which basically means that we're in really good shape. And also feels pretty good because in the last game we actually played against the same Ashe and the same Pantheon, and we got crushed that game. Pantheon ended up like going legendary at the start of the game, and we're pretty much just getting one shot by Pantheon the whole game, and Ashe was playing a different ADC, was not Ashe. So definitely feels good to be in a position to kind of get revenge on them. Perhaps they are an enemy duo, because of course I am duo with Soraka in this particular game. And here they're trying to get our tower, so we're going to quickly run over and stop them from basically getting anything. Volibear is coming down as well, so I'm trying to help him out. I'm dashing forward. We finish off the Teemo, who's invisible. And now we're going to flash forward to help out with the Ashe. Of course, Ashe arrows him to the face, so he couldn't really do anything, so I end up coming over and picking up the kill. One of the few times that Zeri actually shows her strength is when Teemo's invisible, you can still actually attack him because you don't need to see him to attack him. With Zeri, you can just launch your auto attack in his general direction, and he's still gonna get hit in spite of the fact that he's invisible. Whereas with any other ADC, that's not gonna be possible because you need to have a target to attack. Whereas Zeri, you can just attack the air essentially because you can just launch your auto attack anywhere you want. So off of that, we actually get our Runan's Hurricane completed. Obviously, this is a huge power spike, and since I'm 6-0-2, I'm super duper far ahead. I actually decide to go for a very early boot enchant this game, which in this game I'm going for QSS. And I'm mainly going that because of Pantheon and Ashe. Ashe arrow could instantly kill me, and Pantheon stun could instantly kill me as well, so I'm going for that QSS to pretty much ensure that doesn't happen. Another thing is, Teemo and Mundo have really potent slows, so sometimes just getting slowed by Mundo Cleaver could kill you, so I'm getting the QSS to ensure that once again that does not happen, that I can QSS slows if I really need to, and I'm not gonna die to them, so we are going for that. So here Volibear is actually getting chased down, and we're trying to see if we can try to help him out. He actually flashes away, and he does end up dying, but you can see I'm shooting all three people at the same time with the Runans together with the E passive. Ashe is actually going to be able to, she would have been able to escape, except for the fact that she turned around and gave me the triple kill. If she didn't turn around and just kept running, I actually would not have been able to catch her because, of course, Ashe has the slows. Although you could argue Zeri ult does have movement speed, so maybe I would have been able to catch her, but definitely she made it easier for me by turning around. So the Vladimir has just been quietly farming the whole game. He's 0-0-2, but the rest of his team, particularly his bot lane, is in shambles. We have a 0-4 Ashe and 0-5 Teemo. So the enemy team bot lane is kind of feeding pretty hard, but honestly the other lanes are not actually doing that bad. But because of just how hard they fed me, I'm now like nearly at 10k gold in 10 minutes. So I'm super duper fed, pretty much double of Ashe's gold at this point, and just because of how fed I am, Pantheon, Vladimir, and Mundo have to be kind of scared of me as well. So you know, this kind of things do happen where only one of your lanes feed, but they feed to a point where essentially, you know, you can't really do anything much anymore at that point. So here, I get stunned by the Ash arrow, but I'm not gonna QSS it because I'm not in any danger. Don't want to waste the cooldown. And then I'm gonna just walk into the enemy jungle. Now here, we are trying to steal the enemy red buff, but this is not a very good idea because Pantheon can just smite it. Somehow he actually misses the smite and I actually get the red buff, which is pretty interesting. And yeah, no fight ends up breaking out, just a lot of posturing and a little bit of poking, but no real fight ends up breaking out. So here I'm just clearing out the mid lane and clearing out the ward, and Volibear gets engaged on by Pantheon and Ashe again, but I am spotted by the vision, so they don't overcommit because they can obviously see me and Soraka coming. In the meantime, I just, you know, launch a W over the wall, see some CC hits onto Mundo. Mundo is forced to ult, so we did get his ult cooldown, which is something significant. Here you can just look at that. Boom! I instantly just one-shot the Teemo with a Q auto attack. That's how fed I am at the moment. And yeah, I thought the Teemo would escape, but somehow, like, just my auto attack Q just instantly executes him. So here again, an Ashe arrow hits me. I'm not afraid at all because, you know, I have Soraka with me and I don't think they can kill me. So I'm again not gonna waste my QSS on that. And here the next dragon is up. So now we're just gonna do the dragon while Volibear is busy counter jungling the blue buff. Because blue buff is actually being contested, Volibear actually smites the blue buff, which means he doesn't actually have smite for dragon. Thankfully though, Pantheon doesn't actually come and we do end up picking up the dragon pretty much for free. Here I wanted to give the blue buff to Soraka, but since Soraka walked away, I'm gonna take the blue buff for myself. Here I get the dual purpose of running away from the Pantheon and also getting into range of the Vladimir to try to kill him. But Vladimir, you know, very slippery character, he actually just runs away. And here, a huge ult by Orianna. I hit a huge W as well into a auto Q onto Pantheon. Pantheon dies, and Vladimir, not much we can really do to him here. He doesn't really do damage, though. You can see his 1E barely did any damage to me, so I'm not too scared of Vladimir at this point. Mundo kind of face checks into me. I'm just blasting him. He's forced out once again, but I don't really have a way of killing him because I don't have any anti-heal at the moment, so he's healing up for way too much, and I don't really have the damage to kill him. So Mundo's still someone I can't really kill, but anyway, I'm just going to reset. I'm going to finish up my Bloodthirster, and I'm going to start, of course, building towards the Mull Reminder because we really need it to be able to fight the Mundo. So we do get, as you guys can see, the Executioner's Calling, which is the main important component you know, that allows us to fight Mundo. So in the meantime, while walking out, my team is still coming off the reset. I'm just going to stop by the Raptors and pick them up. And I'm pinging for the Volibear to come take red buff so we can get the buff sharing. And in the meantime, we can see some of the enemy team members are in the mid lane. You know, just fight might be about to break out. But even so, I'm going to go to bot lane because this is a huge minion wave that's worth more than a kill. And furthermore, it's going to actually get our tower if I don't clear it. So almost 3 full waves I'm picking up here, and my team is basically just fighting without me, which I was trying to ping them off multiple times, but they're not really listening. But thankfully, though, they are winning the fight, so I guess I can't really, you know, complain about it. Anyways, here last 3 members are left here. I'm gonna pop my Ghost, pop my Flash, no Flash actually, and just gonna dash in with the and not even with the ulti, honestly. We're just gonna pretty much auto attack people down. Oh, we did ulti actually. I kind of missed that. I don't know how I missed that big explosion, but we do dash in with the ulti, and you know, we basically just evaporate them. And at this point, you know, the game is just done. So there you have it. Gonna leave you guys with the stats as usual. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, and goodbye.
Victory!